build request and generates the PDF. And then we ask them, okay, so how many? What's the limit? Well, yeah, you can do that, like have 512 processes concurrently. I said, what? Oh, damn it, shit, we have to solve this somehow, because this is just not for us. We need like thousands concurrently. And until now we were doing this with Erlang, but there are problems with it, because you have to do everything in code, and then you don't get a clean separation between content and structure. So we had to find a new solution, but with technologies that can only get 512 or something messages concurrently, that's just not going to work. So yeah, we'll have to find a different solution there. And yeah, fault tolerant. That's really important, because what we have, it's an architecture called online transaction processing. So it has to be live. Like after 2 years of being there, you actually feel like it has to be live. Oh my God, if the system is down, that's close to the end of the world. It's like, oh no, it's down. So it has to be live. And fault tolerance really helps here, because there's a really nice way to, if a process dies or a server dies, there's a really nice way to, well, balance the load and transfer it to other servers, and yeah, and bring the node that died, bring it back up. So this is really important for some businesses, and Erlang brings that. All right, yeah, memory management, garbage collection, and for those of you, I don't know, like so many of you use Microsoft. I don't know if like open source is the buzzword here. I guess not anymore, but you know it is. But yeah, it's open source, and that makes it really good as well. And you can even find bugs sometimes and submit. That's really cool. Yeah, these are more. Yeah, this is a good one. Hot code reloading. So how it works is that, so there are all these transactions coming in, and well, the transactions coming in from the people that buy stuff, and there's us developers who develop new features there, and well, we have to upgrade the system somehow. And yesterday, actually, I received an email from one of the developers. He said that we do 1.7 upgrades per day. That's really cool. So 1.7 times per day, average, we add new code to the system. And well, many languages and frameworks are not capable of doing that without restarting the whole thing. And hot code reloading, that's a really big benefit, because if you have something new, just load the new compiled B files, and the outside world doesn't even notice that something happened. It just runs the new code now. That's a really important thing. Yeah, supervised trees. This is a concept that you'll learn in the second year. And for those of you who are in the first year right now, is that, well, we have a structure of supervisor trees, and if some high-level process dies, it's okay. It gets restarted. So we just get a bunch of alarms, but that's okay. We don't have to worry about that. John server. Okay, I'll skip this, I guess. Yeah, Mesia. When I was talking about think about other databases, I wasn't really talking about this. Mesia is a database that comes along with Erlang, but okay, it's not state of the art. It's kind of old, and there are new and better things with that. But I like the paradigm of it, because it's totally different. It's not like SQL or not what you usually think of it. It's something where you can store anything in any form. You just push it there, it stays there. That's really cool. And it brings with it a couple of benefits, like higher order functions and query list comprehensions to make searches faster and easier. Yeah, it's symbolic programming, and yeah, one good thing with Erlang is its flexibility, because it allows a lot of, well, implementing a lot of structures that would be, well, kind of hard to have in other languages. It's well, if you have some totally different, some totally new business objects or structures or a collection of variables and functions that you have to bundle together into one data structure, well, you can do that now, and that's really cool. And you can only appreciate that, I guess, when you have really complex problems to solve. And we try sometimes just for the exercise of it to think how would we do it in some other language. That, I guess, would be really hard in some other languages. Okay, so that was the first part of my talk. That was the part about looking back at the education. Because, so, to conclude that, I would say looking back at the education, there are three or a couple more points. Challenge yourself, that's really important. Challenge yourself in all ways. Explore new technologies and new stuff. Whatever you do, don't use the same tools, don't use the same technologies as you did before. Try something new. If you think it's time to settle for one thing, then, I don't know, think again. And third, do learn Erlang, because that's really cool. And the good thing with it is, in this program, is that it's totally different. It's not object-oriented, it's a different paradigm, and it's an exercise for the mind. Even if you won't end up working with it, which, well, statistically speaking, most probably you won't, because most people who work with other languages, you will appreciate the flexibility that it brings with it, and like the way of thinking, that it's a different paradigm and you can think differently, and that will really help you in solving well other problems. And here comes the second part of my talk. It's about the real life after that. Like, where do I go from here? For me, that question was wasn't really easy, because as I said, when I was graduating, that was the financial crisis and all that. But I took a chance and went to a financial company. I think in hindsight, that looks kind of crazy, because financial companies were mostly hit at that time. So I went to some company. At that time it was called Creator, and when my parents asked me what are you working with, I said, I don't know, some invoices, I don't know, we're just sending out invoices. Well, it turned out to be a bit more. As it is right now, it is it's a I've seen so many mobile stuff, internet payments solution. So, just as you think of PayPal, this is a different thing. This is the Swedish way. The Swedish way is different and better. Yeah, it provides payment solution for online shopping, and maybe somewhere in the email I mentioned like avoiding broken bikes. The point in there is that there's actually a commercial that inspired me for that. The idea of the commercial was that, well, when this whole thing started, customers had to trust that the merchant, the internet shop or whatever, would send the real product. So they would trust it, pay by card, punch in the numbers and all that, and just wait a couple of days, and then they get a product, and hopefully there's not a dead cat in it, but it's the bike, and the bike is okay and it's not broken and so on. And well, what these three guys, the founders, what they thought, wouldn't it be better if you just first get the product and then pay? And apparently, like, this paying with an invoice is this culture is really developed in Sweden, I guess, and this trust that customers pay back. And trusting people always is risky, but it's a good idea most of the times. So what they did is developed a solution where customers first purchase things, well,